Hi, I'm Daniel Foley, author of 7 Dates with Jesus, Crossing Over into Abundant Life. In this video, I want to talk to you about creating better connection with people. A few weeks ago, in one of these videos, we talked about how communication is important, but what's really important is that we actually connect with people when we communicate with them. Because, whatever God has called you to do in this life, it's going to require your ability to work well with other people, to influence them. It could be with your spouse, that you guys are getting along and you're working well together. It could be with your kids, influencing them to do their chores or to do their homework. It could be maybe you lead a team, maybe you run a business or some kind of team at work, and you got to be able to influence those people to do the things that they should be doing. But this idea of being able to influence people positively is an important concept. It could be you're sharing the gospel with people, and your ability to influence them is important as well. And so let's talk about a couple things that you can do. And I learned this, I was at a Bible study recently, and I got a guy that's in the Bible study that was leading the Bible study, a guy who I really respect, built a pretty good sized church, and he was talking about if you're going to connect with people and be able to influence them, you have to be able to do these 3 things that I'm going to talk about here, which is number 1, you need to know what gets that person excited. What gets them excited or thankful or feeling blessed because of something. For example, if I'm trying to get my kids to clean the room, if I can figure out something that motivates them, that gets them excited to clean the room, then they're more likely to do that. Okay, so I got to find out what makes that person tick, what gets them excited, what gets them going, what gets them passionate about something. And when you do that, you can create a better connection. Maybe they have a hobby and you just ask them one question and they take off and they get all excited as they start talking about their hobby. Most people like to talk about themselves and their hobbies. So if you can get them going, find out what makes them get excited about something, that's a powerful thing to help your connection with people. Next thing is, on the other side of that, what makes them frustrated, worried? What are the problems they have going on in their life? What are the complaints that they have, so to speak? If you can figure out what are those things that make them frustrated, worried, angry, you have a little more insight into what makes them tick kind of on the other side. Now you know what gets them excited, but also what makes them frustrated, angry, so to speak. Then you can learn quite a bit more about how to influence that person. And finally, kind of as an example, go back to this one real quick. I had a lady who I was training the other day, and she was talking about she was in a staff meeting, and one of the ladies in the meeting was just being very mean to her, over the last couple of days, being very mean to her, which was not like her typical behavior. After the meeting was over, rather than kind of retaliate back, she just asked her a simple question like, hey, just wanted to check and see how everything's going with the project. And that lady began to unload all of her frustrations and worries. She had a lot of things going on in her family and some other areas of her life. And all these things were going on under the surface, and it was affecting her behavior on the outside. And so if we understand what's going on underneath the surface a lot of times, what are the things people are frustrated about, they're struggling with, we can better connect with them on a more kind of intimate level, so to speak. Next thing is we got to speak their language. So from a marketing perspective, this also applies to marketing. If you're trying to market your business or anything in general, you need to understand these things. What gets people excited, what gets them frustrated, and you need to be able to speak their language. In marketing, they talk about enter the conversation that's already going on in the person's mind, so to speak. So for example, in the health and fitness world, which is our world, I might refer to fat loss. The technical term we call it is body composition. Okay, but if the client calls it, hey, I just want to lose this fat off my belly, I want to lose fat. If I use the words body composition, I'm not going to connect as well with that person as if I use their language to speak to them. Okay, we could be saying the same thing, but I'm using different language. I'm not going to connect as well. My message is not going to come across as effectively as if I were to use their language when I speak to them. Okay, so if you can do those 3 things, find out what gets people excited, find out what makes them frustrated or worried or whatever they're struggling with in their life, and then begin to use their language. So as you become a better listener and you listen to these things, pay attention to the words that they use, and as you start to repeat it back to them, make sure you use the words that they use so you can better connect with people and have a greater level of influence in your life.